Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about CleanSpark. Now, I haven't talked about this ticker before. This is the first video in this series. The ticker goes as CLSK. In today's video, I'm going to go towards due diligence, technical analysis, what I think about this one, and if we can find any analyst recommendations, we'll go through that as well. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So CleanSpark, they have different divisions including residential, commercial, and grid communications. Some of the solutions they have includes microgrid controllers, open air solutions, switch gears, residential microgrids, Bitcoin mining, and case studies. Now, in terms of the presentation here, I do prefer to go through it, but if you would like to skip forward, just go ahead and do so towards the news. But this one gives me a really good idea about who they are. So really their mission is to power the future and to solve modern energy challenges for forward-thinking groups who demand future value creations by providing the power of choice in the choice of power. So reaching new heights here, you're looking at some of their most recent from what they put on themselves as milestones. Annual revenues have doubled for 3 consecutive years. Revenue of $10 million for the fiscal year ending 2020, an increase of 122% from the previous year, and contracted backlog of $23.5 million as of April 18, 2021. The company also has provided solutions in 7 countries, and company personnel has grown from 20 to 74% in the past 12 months, with 4 acquisitions since January 2020. Now, in terms of the business segments, you have energy and Bitcoin mining. Really, those are 2 main ones. So in terms of revenue segments, you have software as a service and controls. That's 65 to 90% estimated margin. System installation and services, that's 25 to 60% margin, and hardware, which is 15% estimated margin, with Bitcoin mining around 80% estimated margins based on the $35,000 Bitcoin price. Now, under the energy division, they have redefining energy solutions, including as well aging US infrastructure, increasing efficiency and costs, and alternative to utility shutdowns in fire and disaster prone areas. So some of their solutions includes microgrid services, M-Pulse platform, M-Volt platform, Canvas, and Plaid. And so you get to see here in terms of the total score for the guide in-house, in terms of leadership, they're sitting 11th at 66.8% or 66.8 total score. The highest it goes is SEL at 83.8. Now, in terms of factors driving the growth, so cost reduction and efficiency of solar, integration of generators, and reduction of costs of emergence of storage systems. Now, in terms of the microgrid must use software to achieve optimal results, 28% compound annual growth rate from 2020 to 2029, nearing around $40 billion, with around 20 gigawatts expected increase in the total microgrid capacity over the next decade. In terms of the Bitcoin mining division here, so knowledge is power and everything in between relating towards Bitcoin. I'm not going to dive into what Bitcoin is. A lot of people watching this one should already know. If you don't know, it's a cryptocurrency. It's a fast thing that the rad people do nowadays. But anyway, I'm just trying to just explain it into old people language. So CleanSpark Bitcoin ESG initiative. This one here has Bitcoin energy sources: 91% nuclear, 7% water, and only 2% coal. So technically, nuclear is not renewable energy. So that's something to keep in mind. And technically, the only renewable energy would be the water at 7%. Coal is definitely not nuclear, but they're using at least around 98% non-fossil. Nuclear is more radioactive source of energy, which has byproducts, but it doesn't contribute to the carbon dioxide emissions in that sense. So it is definitely not 100% or 98% renewable. Just keep that in mind. Nuclear is not renewable. And the future of the blockchain is clean energy. And that's been really fueled on by, for instance, Elon Musk, where he was really backing Bitcoin for the longest time, turned around and said, you know what, not anymore really. We're going to really try to look for renewable or more green alternatives, because basically what's been happening is that these miners are tapping onto grids rather than getting in their renewable sources of energy. And you're able to see their installed capacity as of July 2021 is capable of around 470 PHs per second, and future mining capacity with miners already procured is around 3,215 or 3.215 EH per second. And a little bit of diving into here in terms of the mining growth plans. They're really intending to adding a second site by late 2021 for a total of around 2,000 PHs per second. And the company will have 50 megawatts of total energy capacity at existing facilities, including 5 megawatts dedicated to the traditional data center operation, 45 megawatts dedicated to Bitcoin mining at a fixed base rate of around 0.0285 kilowatts per hour. The company also plans to add renewable energies to further increase capacity and sustainability. And you get to see the rapidly growing annual revenues year per year or quarter per quarter in that sense. And you get to see that the hash rate itself currently is sitting closer, or anticipated to sit closer by September 2022 at around 3.2 EHs per second. And some of the financial metrics includes the cash value, which is around $157.3 million. The current assets, $178.5 million. That's totaling up around $292.6 million. Liabilities, current liabilities is $7.3 million, with total liabilities being $8.9 million. And moving on from there, you're able to see that their current overall common shares outstanding is around $33.87 million. Keep that in mind. If you want to get the market cap, you multiply this number by the current price and you get an accurate market cap, which seems to be very close to $460 million. Now, in terms of other things, why CleanSpark? Well, they're named to Russell 2000 Index with 2021 reconstruction, rapidly increasing revenues, leading edge technology, true deal threat in strong market segments, distributed or disturbed energy and Bitcoin, top tier ranking and strong reputation in the industry, regulatory and industry momentum, and strategic alliance with key market participants. And that kind of sums up the presentation. Some of the latest news, I'm just going to mention a few and then dive into others. So CleanSpark provides updates on Bitcoin mining operations, and they mentioned that they have 95% carbon-free Bitcoin mining division to showcase at Mining Disrupt. And CleanSpark announces agreement with ESG focused on crypto mining. So you get to see that the majority of the latest news are relating towards crypto mining. So in regards to this 95% carbon free, because as we've seen in the presentation, this must be more of a subdivision. So CleanBlock, as we see it's a subdivision by CleanSpark, is an CleanSpark is an Atlanta-based cryptocurrency operation running mostly on a carbon-free energy mix. Attendees are encouraged to visit CleanBlock's booth to learn more about how cryptocurrency's responsibility can drive rapid return on investments on energy investments while helping the planet. The company's advanced technology software and microgrid control technologies enables energy optimization of mining centers and other power-intensive operations. Cryptocurrency mining is a critical support system for blockchain and provides significant values for both the miners and the blockchain community. So keep in mind, a lot of people have been saying, oh, this company is working on 95% carbon-free for Bitcoin mining operations. But really what it appears from the presentation, and we did go through that, it was that it's 91% relating towards nuclear, 2% coal, and 7% water. That's the Bitcoin mining energy by source. So as reported to the company by the power provider by March 2021. So all in all, basically, I'm assuming this is relating towards CleanSpark own use because it's not really 91% for the entire industry. But keep in mind, nuclear does not mean renewable. They have a subdivision relating towards renewable called CleanBlock that they're showcasing that they could reach there. So that's the idea behind that. Now, before moving on forward, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button and leave notifications on. Also, don't forget to drop a like to this video and show us your support on a Discord down below, totally free. It's more of a massive, giant, wholesome chat room. Now, the biggest news relating towards this one is the August 16th, 2021 at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time earnings presentation and business update. That's supposed to give us a lot better insight about the company and a bit more information, hopefully, relating towards the Bitcoin mining operations. The last one we had was on August 3rd on 2021, and basically CleanSpark, the company's mining division, now has over 7,500 of the latest generation mining units deployed with a hash rate capacity of around 740 PHs per second, currently producing approximately 6 Bitcoins per day at today's difficulty rates. Another 1,670 units capable of producing approximately 148 PHs per second, or approximately 1.4 Bitcoin per day, have just been received and are expected to be installed this month. Additional units are scheduled for delivery in late August. Upon deployment of these units, the company expects to exceed the hash rate capacity of 1.0 EHs per second, which would produce approximately 9.3 Bitcoins per day, assuming the current difficulty with a Bitcoin price of around $40,000 and current difficulty rates. The 1.0 EHs per second would result in an annual run rate of around $136 million in revenue in the mining segment, and the company itself is expected to approach around 2.0 EHs per second by the end of the year and 3.2 EHs per second by September 2022. So the company produced 147.8 Bitcoins during the month of July. Cumulative, the company has mined more than 520 Bitcoins since entering the mining sector last December. It does give more information about this one, but I'm pretty sure a bunch of you can just pause this one and read it if they would like to, and I just don't want to make this video massively longer. In terms of other informations and SEC filing, it does say the same thing in terms of news, renewable energy reduction in monthly costs, yada yada. And in terms of institutional buyers, institution activity seems to be, well, active. So on the month of August, you have a bunch of people adding, bunch of institutions adding, a few removing their position. We can really count by hand, around 4 or 3 reducing or removing their position. The rest are, I would say, at least 10 have been adding in the last 2 weeks. Now, in terms of other things like insiders, we don't have much to talk about here, so let's move on towards technical analysis. Now, from a technical analysis perspective, there's not really a lot to talk about on the moving averages. Everything looks bearish, 200 SMAs above the 50 SMA, 30 MAs above 10 SMA. But a lot of you are going to look at this and say, well, so what? News really trumps everything, and that's true. But really, we're trying to see if there's any momentum or volumes or anything coming in terms of maybe perhaps change of momentums happen. So the only thing I can highlight here that is not sitting still would be perhaps the MACD gaining a little bit of bullish momentum, or at least a stabilization of accumulation, which is a positive thing nonetheless. And the stochastic fast and stochastic slow both indicate an accumulation, just in case you couldn't see it on the chart itself. Now, the current moving average bands are stabilizing back towards almost a horizontal level, and that's a bullish thing because you needed to kind of push back forward as a momentum, as a stock momentum. It needs to go upwards, well, at least if you're going long. In terms of the moving average bands, you can expect this one to trade at 1521 at the top and 1244 in the bottom. Now, the Fibonacci retracements, and the reason why I'm using this one is because high frequency traders use it. So the current support on there is 1101, below there 125. Resistances are 1704, 2192, 2680, 3375, and 4260. On a price line action point, you're seeing significant support levels at 1313, below there 1153, 1006, going down to 962, going down to 866, 706, around 578, and then 489, and then diving a little bit down to around 387. Resistances. Current resistance is at 1408. Above there, 1523. Above there, you're looking up to around 1606, going down or up to 1779, 2060, going to 2322, up to 2520, and then upwards to around 2762, 3075, and then upwards to around 3209, going to 3394, and upwards to closer to 3720. In terms of analyst recommendations, there's 2 of them They were reiterated 3 months ago. 2 of them are buy, one has a $50 price target and the other one $45. The first one has a success rate of 52% with an average return of 62%. The second one has 40% success rate with an average return of 3%. The current average price target for this one appears to be $50 and it is at a moderate buy. So all in all, you'd see that the analysts themselves were very bullish relating towards this one. And around 3 months ago, if you followed their advice around 42.60, you'd be down around what, 60% down? So just be very careful and try to think for yourself. So 520 Bitcoins, let's say they double that this year and they reach, I don't know, 1,000 Bitcoins. What amount of money is that relating to? It's relating to around $35 million. $35 million, meanwhile the market cap is around 420. And we went over the news and everything, and they did mention anticipated hash rate, or basically of 2.0 EHs per second, leading to around 9.2 Bitcoins per day. Multiply that by 365 days, let's assume that it's running every single day, you'll get around 3,358 Bitcoins. Let's say that it stabilizes Bitcoin for the entire year, and that's an assumption, at $35,000. That will lead in terms of revenue of around $117 million. Their current market cap is around 420. So you get to see only on their Bitcoin mining division, they would lead to around $118 million. All right, so we said 3,358. That's the amount of Bitcoin they're anticipating to make at 2.0 EHs per second. So let's say Bitcoin goes back to somehow to 60,000. They would be making around $201 million and 500,000 a year. So that would be half the market cap. They're just on the Bitcoin mining part. So you get to see the math itself and how it's going. The company itself has really strong forecasts about their Bitcoin mining and mining operations. Now, it is dependent a little bit on the hash rate and Bitcoin prices. Do keep in mind that Bitcoin hash rates and difficulties do change over time, but that is basically what we're looking at, is that they're forecasted at 35,000 is sitting closer to, well, I mean, 35 to 60,000. That's a massive range for Bitcoin currently. But if we were talking about 35,000, probably you're sitting at a price over earnings, or price over revenues, not earnings, of just the Bitcoin operations being around 4, which is not that bad at all, given that the SP 500 is already overvalued closer to 4 anyway. So what do you think about the sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below, share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.